Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, B'Shem Yeshai, B'Shem Makah Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who are risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai. And the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalio, and this video is about the Mark of the Beast prophecy, which is a microchip. Okay, so from the peoplesvoice.tv, RFK JR unveils plan to strap government tracking devices on Americans before 2030. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has unveiled what critics are calling a chilling and Orwellian plan to embed electronic surveillance into the daily lives of Americans. All right. That word, embed, is very intentional, I believe. To embed is to fix an object firmly and deeply in a surrounding mass. To plant, to fix, to sink, to insert. Okay? Right? And so, what is inserted? The microchip, which is the mark of the beast. All right? So this word embed is very intentional. To embed, to insert electronic surveillance into the daily lives of Americans. And the only insertion of such that we know of is a microchip. Okay? Under the banner of health, Kennedy is promoting the widespread adoption of wearable tracking devices, one for every man, woman, and child in the United States within 4 years. So one for everyone. All right, why? Because the Mark of the Beast prophecy says that it's going to become mandatory worldwide. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So he causeth all. All right, and who's going to cause this? The people that are in rulership, who are these so-called white people, who are the biblical Edomites, whose forefathers Esau, who are the wicked. This is their kingdom, and is their ruling class, which is the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, the elite bankers that are going to be pushing their NWO, which is the New World Order, with the microchip at the forefront of it. All right, it is them that has this entire agenda pushing forward. All right. So that's why it says one for every man, woman, and child in the United States within 4 years, right? He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Okay. So then it says we're about to launch the biggest advertising campaign in HHS history to encourage Americans to use wearables. My vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years. 4 years today is 2025, 20. Okay, well, it's all within the same timeline. You know, you have these individuals that are part of the wicked elite of Esau, Edom, with being whichever level within that, you know, their organization and their standards. And those same individuals have come out, you know, because we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. Yahweh Shemisha has blessed us with certain wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and the eye salve to be able to see through the deception of the devil. So when we see certain individuals, you know, we're able to determine through the spirit that these individuals are part of, you know, that. And many of those same individuals have come out and spoken about the timeline in which they plan to launch this. What they're talking about is really that microchip. All right. There have been different timelines from anywhere between, actually, what I've heard, from at least 2026 to 2030. All right, from what I've heard, you know, from different of those individuals that come out and speak about it, from RFK Jr. to Klaus Schwab to whoever else I'm not remembering. Okay, so they want it within 4 years, so that would be 2029. Said Kennedy, referring to the electronic devices designed to monitor biometric data, location, and behavioral patterns. Well, let's Google biometric microchip. The biometric microchip, a human microchip implant, is any electronic device implanted subcutaneously, embedded, okay, that's a word that's synonymous with implanted, usually via an injection, inserted as well. All right, embedded to insert, injection pierces the skin, and then what does it do? It inserts the microchip, okay. And actually, break that down, the word mark, G5480 in Revelation 13 verse 16, the word mark is charagmo, a stamp, an imprinted mark, stamp, imprinted, embed, insert. All right, all of these words is goes into, you know, piercing, which is going to pierce the skin, okay. And then it goes to which that charagmo is the physical microchip. Then the origin is G5482, which is the carax, which is a pail or stake, and that's the device used to administer the microchip, okay. So usually via an injection, that's the carax, that's the device used. Examples include an identifying integrated circuit RFID device encased in silicate glass, which is implanted in the body of a human being. This type of subdermal implant usually contains a unique ID number that can be linked to information contained in an external database, such as identity document, criminal record, medical history, medications, address book, and other potential uses. A unique ID number, which is your biometric number. All right, that's what it's talking to or referring to, right? A biometric microchip, RFID microchip, embedded into the skin to store biometric data, which can be used for identification and authentication. Then the images, boom, there it is. That is the microchip itself. All right. Now let's see if I can find the device that is used. Oh, here it is. Well, that's the one that they, well, you know, they microchip pets too, but let me get the proper one. Okay. Here it is. This is it. That's the device used. That's the carax that's used to insert the microchip right there. All right, so boom. Okay, going back to this article where it says, my vision is that every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years, said Kennedy, referring to the electronic devices designed to monitor biometric data, location, and behavioral patterns. All right, the microchip. Okay, the push for constant biometric surveillance is not new. The World Economic Forum, WEF, especially during the leadership of Klaus Schwab, has been publicly advocating for wearable and implantable technology for over a decade. I'm glad the article mentioned him. Okay, truthfully, I only read the little beginning, and then the spirit, you know, I just turned on the recording, you know what I'm saying? So it's good. It's a good thing it mentioned Klaus Schwab, because I was going to bring out something regarding him anyway. Let's listen to what he has to say regarding the future. As I said, he's one of those people. All right. So Klaus Schwab, implanted microchip, Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum, and the Great Reset 4 years ago. They call it the Great Reset. They call it the Fourth Industrial Revolution. They call it the Intelligence Age. These are all the same things. You know, names that are synonymous with their New World Order. Okay. So as you can see, this was taken January 10th, 2016. He explains that human beings will soon receive a microchip. All right. So let's just. Today, at the end of this, we're talking about chips that can be implanted. When will that be? Certainly in the next 10 years. Remember, this interview was January 10th, 2016. So in the next 10 years. So they had plans from 2016. They envisioned it that in the next 10 years that people will be microchipped. We're now in the year 2025. Next year is 2026. We're halfway through this year, basically. All right. And the microchip is up and running through the hand, through the head. Many manufacturers as well are producing microchips that are inserted into the hand. You have many brain microchip developers, from Neuralink to Synchron to Paradromics, to all of those that are in China, the companies in China that are developing their brain microchip as well. And then you have as well the Steam C, what's his name, Gage Valve or what, Newell or something, another brain microchip developer. So you have many of them, and the thing about it is that it's successful, it works. All right, now I will say that I did see some article about one of the brain microchips in somebody not really functioning, you know, that well, but other results have come out showing that it has been successfully implanted into individuals and being used for the purposes where they're able to communicate their thoughts with the brain microchip implanted in them to other external technology, right? For example, using it to control a robot arm or using it to control a mouse. An individual who's literally brain microchipped said that he first got it to monitor his health and stuff like that because that's how it was advertised. But as a little bit of time has gone on, he says that it's evolved quite quickly, where now he's actually able to use that brain microchip in his head to move a mouse. That's what he said. Okay, but that's just even the beginning stages of what this technology and the purposes of it is. Okay, but anyway, first we will implant them in our
On va
clothes,
les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit. Et après,
and then we
on
would
peut
imagine that we
s'imaginer
will
qu'on
implant
les
them in
implante
our brains and in
dans
our
le
skin.
cerveau
You see,
ou
I mean,
dans
this is
notre
it, man.
peau.
This is the prophecy,
Et à la
literally
fin,
speaking.
peut-être il y
And
a
in
une
the end, maybe there will be a
communication
direct
directement
communication
entre notre
between
cerveau
our brain and the
et
digital world, which this was said in 2016, and it's already happening. Okay, well, 9 years later, right? 9 years, 9 years later, there's a brain microchip, and it is. People are microchipped in the brain, and it communicates with the digital world, which is the technological world, which is artificial intelligence. Okay, so they are accomplishing their goals. So it's only a matter of time before the microchip is launched. Okay, the hour of temptation comes upon us, spoken about in Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. Okay.
digital. Ce que nous voyons,
What we see is a
c'est
kind
une
of
sorte
fusion of
fusion
the physical,
du
digital,
monde
and biological
physique,
world, right? The fusion of it, because merging the body with the microchip merges the human body, the biological, and with the physical technological device, and then through that insertion of technology in the body and the merging, then it's able to communicate with other technology that is designed to be able to communicate with it. All right, for example, what Apple is doing, Apple recently came out with an article saying that they are they're developing their technology or something to be able to communicate with the brain microchip. You see what I'm saying? So the same exact thing that he's talking about is the same. And every time they have these summits and these gatherings or whatever it is, these really also these rituals on the left hand side, they're always talking about this. They're continuously talking about this. They are extremely diligent regarding this situation on the left hand side. They are doing every single thing possible to bring it about, this microchip and their NWO. Okay.
et biologique.
We call someone we don't even have the reflex to take a device is unnaturally detained. Okay, so we got the main point of it, okay? Because he blatantly said what it is. There's nothing else to really get from that. So, especially during the leadership of Klaus Schwab, has been publicly advocating for wearable and implantable technology for over a decade. In 2022, okay, let me see, just gonna skim it. China, which already uses a nationwide system of facial recognition, social credit scoring, and smartphone tracking, is widely seen by globalists as a testing ground for a digital control grid that could soon be exported to the West. And it is true. Over in the East, they are very far ahead regarding the actual system, right? Because a part of it is the 15-minute cities and the smart cities and the people interacting with technology in every facet of their life. From the second they wake up to the second they go to bed, they're interacting with the technology, and it's going to be embedded within cities in such a way. That's the vision for these smart cities and 15-minute cities. And so then a part of their goal, their vision, is that people are going to be microchipped, and they're going to be microchipped walking around the cities and interacting with the technology and all these kinds of things using the microchip. All right, and that they won't be able to interact with it, right, unless they do have that microchip. That's why it says then in verse 17, and Revelation 13 verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you'll be shut off from society unless you have the microchip. All right, you won't gain access to medical services, government services, food services, any kind of services, unless you have the microchip. And you're also going to have the microchip in order to provide said services as well. Okay, so let's see what else this has to say. right? So this is true during the C19. Those passports and proposals for digital health IDs is true. And then even during that time, they were talking about those who, the safe zone, like in Israel, the state of Israel, they were talking about having those green safe zones for those who accepted the solution to the problem, right? And that's going to come again differently in the form of the microchip, all right? That was just a little bit of a testing ground of sorts, plus other ulterior motives from Esau Edom, all right? Digital surveillance devices as common as smartphones are mandatory. Well, we're already being tracked by way of our smartphones. That's a given. And it's become so commonplace that people are just fine with it now because they just realize it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like people really are like that fine about it and that comfortable, but it's like a situation where there's nothing we can do about it, but we're using the technology, you know what I'm saying? Because you can opt out of all of the things, location tracking, cookies tracking, all of that. But yet and still, some way, somehow, you're still receiving ads based off of what you're searching through, right? And your location is still found even when you turn off your location on your phone, right? Okay. Anyway, they talk about those two individuals, biometric tracking, wearable pregnancy, yeah. I mean, this is it, man. This is, they're pushing it and they're saying what? He said what? Next 4 years. So it's looking from anywhere between now to 2030, Lord willing, it launches. You know what I'm saying? They have it in their mind, that they want to push this out within a certain time frame, somewhere between, at least I'll say from now until then, something, however things pop off, timeline said next 10 years, 2015, 2025 is within the 10 years. So 2025, 2026, 2029, 2030, however it goes, the prophecy is coming. Okay. And as it says in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And it's speaking very loudly. It's so loudly. It's right in front of our faces. So, with the situation at hand, I'll speak generally. The brain microchip and the microchip in the hand is up and running and ready to go from my observations. The systems that are needed to allow the microchip to function on a global scale, that is being implemented. Central bank digital currencies, the transition to a digital payment system, as well as the digital identification system, which the digital identification system is the groundwork, right, of the groundwork before transfer of collecting all of your data and then putting it onto the microchip, right? Because it said, where is it at? Right, because it says the type of subdermal implant usually contains a unique ID number, okay, that can be linked to information contained in an external database such as identity document, criminal record, medical history, medications, address book, and other potential uses, right? And then when you look at the WEF digital ID, it is about consolidating all of your information together onto this digital ID, and then that digital ID will simply be transferred onto the microchip. And they would have already consolidated all of your information onto this digital ID, which then it just makes it easier to transition for when that time comes. Okay, so then besides that, it's about making sure that the cities are online, right? They need to be smart cities. They need to be 15-minute cities. The digital public infrastructure needs to be more advanced. So over there in China, their digital public infrastructure is very advanced, but they haven't launched their digital yuan in its fullness as yet. Meanwhile, in Jamaica, the digital ID and the digital Jamaican dollar has been launched, but the digital public infrastructure in Jamaica is extraordinarily poor. All right, where they recently joined a campaign that is built around improving the digital public infrastructure within the country. So, looking at all of those stages, you can see that the prophecy is in fact close. And, it could really just take one event, but whatever the situation is, it's only a few years, months, whatever it is, it's close. All right. And of course, the warning from Yahweh Shemisha is that if you take the mark chip, you are going to be destroyed. Salvation is only for the nation of Israel. Okay. And if you take the mark chip, you are going to be destroyed. You don't have no chance for salvation. So that's all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai, Bashim Kodesh, Shalom.